Hi, I'm Bob Dailey, and this is Gulf Coast Gardening with Nature's Way Resources. Now, Diane, tell us what this beautiful plant is.
This is gay feather, Liatris pictostachya. First time I ever saw this was when I was going to school at St. Houston College, which is now university. But anyway, I remember passing on the roadside this huge patch of stuff, so of course I had to turn around, come by and see what it was, and it is gay feather. Very, very hardy, very ornamental, beautiful purple stalks in the fall. So people, when they see it, they want it. It'll seed out some. It really needs a good sunny patch. I'd say anywhere from half day to all day sun is good for gay feather. We do have some gay feathers that are a little bit more shade tolerant, like Liatris elegans, which a lot of people don't notice because they blend in so easy. They're small. And this one will get about this tall with the flower stalks. And like I said,
the flower stalk comes right up like this,
yes,
and it'd be flowers all the way up and down it.
And each year, your clump will get bigger and bigger. Like that over there is the original clump from one little plant.
It's beautiful.
The hummingbirds, I've seen hummingbirds come to the plant. I see a lot of butterflies come to it, as well as beneficial insects. Sandy loam, clay soils. Again, one of the main things is a lot of sun. This is one of our native purple cone flowers, Echinacea pallida variety sanguinea, and it'll either be single stemmed or in a clump. Good for butterflies, again, beneficial insects. That's about as tall as this particular one will get. It likes a sunny position. It probably should be in a lot more sun than it is, but it does get some afternoon sun. Sandy loam, clay soils. I've seen butterflies come to it. And again, it's one that you might expect to find around here, or used to be able to find around here.
Growing wild.
Growing wild, correct. This is sensitive fern, Onocleus sensibilis, and it is an East Texas native. First time I ever saw this one was going to Huntsville and pulling off on the side and seeing what looked like could be a stream. So I go on the bank and look down there, and there was sensitive fern, not in the water, but up on the bank, growing and spreading. And you see it has, these are what they call fertile fronds. They've already pretty much have lost the spores. But in the winter, the green leaves will die, and you'll have these fertile fronds which looks like beads all along them. We got one here that looks a little bit better shape.
Beautiful. Yeah.
And the fertile fronds will stay all winter long, and then sometime in the late winter, early spring, your leaves will start coming back up again. Mm-hmm. As you see, it likes to spread. Very gentle. It's not hard to get out if you were needing to get out. It has a rhizome. Very, very easy.
So all these plants are easy for people to grow.
Oh, yes. All I have to do is put this, make sure it's in sufficient shade. It likes morning sun. Now, it will grow in full sun, but I would have to water it a lot.
Gotcha.
And I try to be very easy on the watering, try to give plants the minimum of what it needs to grow, partly to test it to see how strong it is.
Sure.
And because in some plants, let's face it, if you give them lots, they become adapted to it and they need lots.
Right.
And sometimes some plants, you give them less, they'll just maybe grow a little bit slower than otherwise. Doesn't take away their vitality by any means. But anyways, I have a soaker hose in here, and so that's how I water the plants in here.
This would make a great ground cover for a shady area that nothing else can grow in that area.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. Now, it doesn't grow well probably in deep shade, but
partial shade.
Partial shade would be perfect.
Now you have some palmetto growing out here,
Yes,
and that's a native plant too.
yes it is. It likes very boggy conditions. And as you see in all this understory, it takes shade extremely well. It may not, it may take a very, very long time before it'll produce fertile
Seeds.
seeds for multiplying, but it's hanging in there and doing very well. This thing has been here for 20 years at least. So it grows very, very slow, but it doesn't have any insect issues or anything.
Well, let's continue our walk. You've got some beautiful plants down here that we'd like to see.
This is our native passion flower vine here that grows naturally in East Texas woods. It has a small yellow flower. It's not as what I would call aggressive as our passiflora incarnata can be. It's a lot more gentle. Probably gets about 10 or 12 feet tall if it has the space to grow. And very, very hardy, doesn't need anything. But it's very, very hardy, very, very nice. My original gay feather over here. We have lots of grapes here, and last year, because of some health conditions, I wasn't able to be as on the property as much as I had. But my husband made a comment about all the grapes that were on the ground. I said, collect them. So we did, and I've been putting 3 or 4 in our smoothie, and I finally ran out last week. Because grapes are very, very healthy, very nutritious, very good for you internally for ever so many reasons. And it's a free crop. You don't have to do anything to it. I told my husband, I said, we'll leave plenty for the wildlife, but we're definitely going to collect more for us. Oh, this is our native lobelia, Lobelia puberula. We have 2 lobelias that you can find around here. Cardinal plant, which is that beautiful red that a lot of people know about because it's in cultivation. And this one, Lobelia puberula, purple dewdrop, I think it's purple dewdrop is the common name, but anyways, it's Lobelia puberula, P-U-B-E-R-U-L-A, I believe. And the flowers are lavender purple. It grows, you see, in a fair amount of shade, but it also grows in sandy soil. And even though we had 5 inches of rain, several days ago, next week, it'll probably be dry as a bone. It tolerates it very well, while the red cardinal flower prefers to have moist soil most of the time. But very, very easy. It's not overly aggressive, as you see, very gentle. I only have a couple that are growing that I found.
Now, that's another question I want to ask you. Talking about found plants, you found a lot of these plants along San Jacinto River and other places. People could actually go and do that if they knew what they were looking for, right?
Correct. And when you're going to collect plants, what you have to do is be very, very careful. If it's only one plant, you don't do it. If it's a nice big amount,
Right.
and if it's the right time to do it, then you can go ahead and collect a plant or collect a seed. Seed is preferable, but again, you wouldn't want to collect all the seed that would be in that area. You have to be very, very considerate of, because you want it to continue growing
in the wild.
Right. But yeah, and that's certainly a way to have more plants for yourself.
Diane, I want to thank you very much for this. This has been an educational and interesting tour. And I want to thank you for all the work you're doing with propagating native plants and finding native plants, because I know you found a lot of them, and they're really gorgeous. So thank you very much.
You're welcome.
This is Gulf Coast Gardening. Stay tuned for more with Nature's Way Resources. And remember, you can come out to Nature's Way Resources for all your gardening and plant needs.